For the first time, I can say it for this season. Folks, it's game day. Let's freaking go.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
You're fucking tough.
Happy game day, New York Jet fans. My name is Paul Ashton Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcasts. A special shout-out to the Coffee Club Baby, our YouTube members. If you'd like to become a member, go down to our YouTube description and join the Boy Green Coffee Club right now. Loyalty badges, emojis, and of course, access to our Discord channel. So make sure you guys check it out. By the way, the game today between the New York Jets and the Washington Commanders is at noon. I want people to know. I heard people talking about an evening game. No. The Panthers and Giants games coming up over the next 2 weeks will be at night. This one is literally in the afternoon, and it is at noon. You can watch the game on your local TV on WCBS. You can stream it on the NewYorkJets.com or official app through NFL Plus. Feel free to do that. You can sign up for a free trial to make sure you get that action. And again, Jets Commanders today at noon. Let's welcome in our special guest here on the weekend. It is my father, Hop on Pop, to help us with a game day preview. Baby, let's bring him here on the program. What's up, Pop?
No. I was just placing an order for some merch.
Oh, yeah, which, by the way, that link is also in the YouTube description. If you want to get some of the merch, we got the new Hop on Pop merch you guys can check out, or the OG Boy Green merch. Either way, not a bad place to go for all our new members of the Coffee Club. And by the way, when you guys purchase merch, make sure you tag me on social media, and I'll blow it up, whether it's the Instagram, the Facebook, or the Twitter. So make sure you tag me, and we can throw it all together. So we'd appreciate that. Do you got to do any final button pressing for your merch there, Pop?
No, I placed the order. I got to get ready because September is right around the corner.
Yeah, that's right. And I will do this because I showed it to my dad before the show. I didn't get a chance to do this earlier. I see that Hep, our guy Hep, is in the chat. He is saying, in the name of the Father, he has joined us here. Great show with Jake yesterday, and I appreciate that. Every Friday we're on with Jake. As I saw you were in the chat on Twitter, Dad. Very nice. I appreciate the support. That was very nice. But before we get the show started today, I just want to give a special shout-out to Hep, and give a special shout-out to my boy Joe Branham. He does, like, a version of this Jet show, but Ram style is how he does his show, and it's a little bit different. But he grabbed Hep's Super Bowl song that he played on the guitar, and he kind of souped it up with some audio. He does some great work and doing radio in Colorado, and here is the final product. We also have the video to play at random points in the future, but we now have just the audio only. Let's play it.
Yeah.
Okay, play it one more time.
Okay. Boy Green Daily, we're talking Jets. We are the best, forget the rest. We're up to date, we're going there. Super Bowl's coming, so all beware. Yeah.
Here we go. Our boy Hep getting us ready here on the weekend. All right, well, let's get into it, and shout out to Hep. One of the coolest moments in the show's history. We had our historic show earlier this week, and we'll see if we can keep packing those historic programs as we get, hopefully, a very historic 2024 year. Right off the top, Dad, we've got Jets Commanders today, the preseason opener. The Jets will have a game every week until February outside of the cut day week. That week, we have an extra week before we get to the regular season. So let's get into it here with some potential players and things. Before we get to the players, just the game in general, what are you looking for today with the Jets strapping it up for the first time this preseason?
Yeah, this is really the week one preseason game is really where you make your money, where these people that, you know, for Hard Knocks, you'd be like, gee willikers, I really hope this guy gets a chance to play. So this is for them to show out. And it's also You can pick your game, Stratego, for those that prefer simpler games. It's chess, Stratego, checkers,
Sure.
tic-tac-toe. But this is where Robert Saleh, where as a coach, you make some of your money in the preseason by you show what you want to show. And there's a lot of opportunities out there to really help him out. And, we'll talk more about it later. But how he approaches the game with his defensive strategy will help the Jets in the long run. But I don't want to speak
Of
too much.
course.
So should be good. And I don't know who the Commanders are. The Redskins are, I think, who they're playing.
Yeah, which we actually spoke to a Washington insider. I think that was on Thursday, and we might be getting another name change. So, you never know. Hey, you know what? Keep throwing them out there. Maybe eventually something will stick. So, what we're going to do, everybody, for those that are watching or listening live, we're going to count down from 5 to 1 the players for whatever reason, whether it's playing time, cut status, anything of that nature. Are worth watching. Do you want to get this started, Pop?
Yeah, I'll get it started.
Okay.
I'll get this party started.
Okay.
And
Let's
I'm going to say
number 5.
I thought there was more.
No, just number 5.
I thought there was more to it than that.
No,
Okay, do it again.
no,
I was right.
Okay,
go ahead.
sure. Okay, here we go. Professional voice guy.
Number 5.
Yeah, for me, and this is not in the order, but it's because I'm excited to talk about it. Right,
sure. Okay.
And it actually segues right from what I said about Robert Saleh. Right.
Okay.
Will McDonald is who I want to see. I want to see him show up, show out for multiple reasons. A, did we really waste a first-round pick last year? Or, him showing up, Robert Saleh having the right defensive strategy. I utilize the defense. My strategy for this game is more than the normal week 1 preseason game.
Okay.
This is leverage against Hassan Reddick. They come out and they show, unlike the Patriots the other night, they come out and they show a solid, quarter or two of football, give Will McDonald the spotlight, and then you put the heat back on Hassan Reddick. Not sure, it's not a slam dunk, but it is influence on how the Jets play today without him, and how Will McDonald plays will help in the long term of what happens with the Hassan Reddick situation.
And boy, Hassan Reddick, if he doesn't show up today, which would be kind of weird for the first time to show up being a preseason game, and there's been no indication he will. But the reason I bring that up is the fines are about to get even more serious. $750,000 is what Hassan Reddick will be fined, a 1/18th game check for the regular season for not showing up to this preseason game. He is scheduled to make $14.25 million. So he's about to get a sizable chunk cut out of his money by not showing up today. And if he skips the entire preseason, Zach Rosenblatt of The Athletic did the math. That's $2.37 million he will be fined if he skips out. So again, I'd be surprised if he randomly shows up today. That doesn't seem to make it. I don't even know what I would say, because Hassan Reddick hasn't shown up since his introductory press conference on April 1st. So I have no idea if, today's the first day to show up. Like, where do I go? Who do I talk to? What do I say? Like, it'd just be very bizarre. So I imagine that's not going to happen. So more fines for Reddick as it continues to go on. We are now on day 19. I don't know if this counts for the training camp skippage, if he gets an additional fine for that part, but this would be day 19 of the holdout.
Yeah, and I'll think about this.
Yeah.
So some of this, and I don't know the contract breakdown for Hassan Reddick, just to be clear. I don't know, he's going to set to make this, that, or the other. Realize this.
Yeah.
Whatever that $14 million, his agent already got paid. Right? So think about this. His agent already got his piece of that $14 million.
Correct.
The federal government is still going to get their piece. That he's opting, right? That he's opting not to go to work. He's still going to get taxed. Right? So it's like you get paid and then they take it back. Oof. So someone in the Jets, they should get the guy in the corner with the pocket protector to beep, beep, beep. Eventually, where the rubber is going to, essentially he's going to play for free at some point. And then there's all these other ramifications. So those are factors that should be considered when we're playing this, chicken game. We're driving two cars at each other. Who's going to turn first? This game, Will McDonald showing up, will be pretty significant on where the Jets say, all right, we're just going to let this thing ride. By the way, we just stepped out of the car and you get an empty car run right at you, Reddick.
Yeah. Well, let me see here. I want to check something here. This number has to be a lot. Let me see. Okay, where we at? Okay, yeah. I thought that number was high. Okay, the Jets are worth a couple billions with a B in terms of their net worth. The NFL franchise value, this was last season, had the Jets at 6.1 billion net worth. That's pretty sizable. So who's going to win, the billion-dollar organization with a B or player that's losing money on a day-to-day basis? I don't know. I guess we'll see ultimately what happens there. And also, it is worth noting that if Hassan Reddick, let's just say, doesn't show up at all this year, he just says, Jets, F you, buddy. They hold
He's
his
still
rights
right.
next year.
Yeah.
So and he gets another year older. He's 29. He turns 30 at the end of September. Again, the Jets hold all the cards. Of course, the Jets want to win a Super Bowl. So, and Reddick would assist in those efforts. So that's the pressure I assume Reddick must be banking on. It's like, hey, if you want to jeopardize your own Super Bowl season, then so be it. So we'll see how the staring contest goes. But we just get into another piece here. It is interesting.
And it could go the other way, right? Will McDonald does not show up. It'll be important. That's an important piece of the game. That's my number 5.
I love it. So a good number 5 to start. So voice guy, hit me.
Number 5.
I want to go to a guy that a lot of us have forgotten about. A lot of us have already written off. And, it was a cute name when he was drafted. Izzy to the Hizzy. Well, we haven't seen many Izzy to the Hizzy. Last year he had 22 carries for 70 yards, and there's no Hizzy. No touchdown. None of that happening. So can we get some of that action in the preseason? Last year in the preseason, we saw little pops. Izzy, I can't remember if the Panthers were the first game or not, but I remember in the Panthers game specifically, he had a run in the preseason, had a spin move, got the fans all excited. We're like, oh, baby, look at this guy. And nothing happened. So Israel Abanikanda, he is number 5 on this list. He is going to get a lot of run. Because if you think about all the guys, we got a lot of different running backs in this room. Xavier Valade is going to get run. You have Izzy, obviously, who's in the conversation. They just signed Deion Jackson off the couch. He's going to be in the conversation. And I'm going to just address this. I heard some of the people talking about it. Salah hasn't confirmed this. I think we are getting like zip and pip on starters. Tyrod Taylor might play a series or two. We might get some Joe Tippmann for the snap confidence, maybe a couple guys like that. Quick playing, if at all, spot starters, and then yank. That's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be a lot of other people. That's just, again, my educated guess on conversations I've heard from Salah. He talked about when he first arrived here 4 years ago about being a young team and how important it was to play in the preseason. And he talked about how veteran this team is and why they don't really need it. So he almost said it without saying it to me about his status there. But I think he's going to get a ton of run. And again, I don't think he saves his job today, even with the greatest performance of all time, but he starts the conversation with 3 preseason games to go. So keep an eye out for Izzy, baby.
Yeah. No. Yes, he is a player to watch.
Okay.
You already know what you need to know, right? You said it. We drafted 2 running backs. We just signed others.
Yes.
Right? If you go today, anyone watching, please go ahead and look up the New York Football Jets depth chart. Izzy's already 4 behind the 2 rookies after 10 days of training camp.
Yeah.
Right? So I would offer you, the Jets are going to do him a favor. If you see him 75 to 80% of the game, which is what I expect, you're going to see the 2 draft picks in the first quarter, maybe a little bit of the second quarter. And then if it's Izzy time, that's just because they don't want to get the other players hurt. That's because it doesn't matter, right?
Well,
so Izzy is Fashishi out.
My dad in the hip lingo. He's always there for it. I would just say, I don't know if that's probably an indication, but it's not always. For instance, remember Salah played Bryce Huff well into the fourth quarter of the Hall of Fame game that received a lot of criticism. Will McDonald playing deep as a first-round draft choice. So every once in a while, old Salah on the playing time of the preseason sometimes can be a little spotty. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's go to your next.
By the way, I think that makes up for half of Will McDonald's playtime all of last season was that preseason game.
Hey now, the lowest snap percentage by Jets first-round pick since Vernon Gholston, one of my proud 56 jerseys I have in that closet over there. All right, here it is.
Number 4.
Yeah, so I'm making a zig here. I'm adding somebody to the list.
Oh, great.
Sure. So I'm afraid to do this because then you'll take one of the other ones we already talked about before
Okay.
the show.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say it's Joe Tippmann.
Oh, great.
That's his opportunity out there is he's not snapping that ball in any way but the shotgun. Every snap he's in there. And I want him in at the beginning, right when the best players that the Redskins are going to put on the field are there to punch him in the face. Right. I may even ask, hey, Mr. Quinn, if you could pound on my center for a series, that would be great. And see if he can hold it up. And depending on that goes, we're now not my number 4 is only him, but it's who would his replacement be? So we see what he looks like. We see how he handles the snaps with some live fire action. And then we see who the next guy up is going to be and how he handles the situations. It is crucial and not something we can – there's a lot of things in a football game that are just should be automatic.
Yeah.
And the center getting the ball to the quarterback should be automatic.
Yeah.
A 1 in 1,000 times, maybe there's an issue, maybe there's communication breakdown. That's not where we're at right now. We need to prove that this problem is dead or do something different, right? That's really the value in this preseason game. Show me you can snap the ball under all conditions, or show me that we can use you selling beers in the 300 section.
Yeah. I'll bring up Hep's comment here. I don't know what the Washington starter situation is. Again, are they playing their starters in the preseason? But boy, if they are, I think it's some big boys. Deron Payne, one of the highest paid defensive tackles in football. Jonathan Allen, one of the best defensive tackles in football. So, if Tippmann's in there and those boys are playing, he's going to have some ops. He's going to have some ops. You could say the Washington team kind of sucks overall, but in a few select pieces, they got some talent, man. They got our boy, former Jet Frankie Louvu. They got those wonderful defensive tackles. They got Scary Terry on the offense. Like Jaden Daniels, of course, the exciting number 2 overall pick who will be playing today against the New York Jets, making his preseason debut. There's some chutzpah there. There's no doubt about it. So shout out to some of those defensive tackles that will come. Let me follow you up.
Did you just recycle a nickname?
What's that?
Scary Terry? Did you just recycle that from?
No, I'm pretty sure that is Terry McLaurin's name. It's that, and he also
his name is Scary.
Terry.
That's his name.
McScorin, I believe, is his other name. Yeah, I get what you said. Terry Rozier. He's
his driver's license. Sir, can I see your driver's license?
Yeah.
Your first name is Scary, or is that in place of Mr. or Mrs.? It's Scary. Is that what it is?
Which, by the way, what is the rule on that? So, like, there are some players in sports history, right? You have like AI, The Answer, and you have all Paul Pierce, The Truth, like an NBA, football, these things. And some are like, some are unique. And maybe only 1 or 2 people in our lives are going to have that nickname at the prime of their sports.
Should be 1.
Yeah, right. Okay. So the thing I was just going to ask is, like, what about the ones that are a little bit more common? Like, there's some nicknames that are like all over the place. Like, I don't even know. I'd have to think of an example. But you're saying that there's no crossover. If someone has a nickname, you got to find something else.
Right. So if someone had the intestinal fortitude to watch, one of our running backs and go, sweetness.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's not how it goes.
Okay, that's so good. Okay.
How many words are there in the English language? And by the way, we make some up all the time. Whatever, that made up dictionary that we have, we make up words all the time. So make up new words for nicknames. Don't recycle. And they're actually, if you run through the NFL and you think about it, you're probably only going to come up with, like sweetness, that example. There aren't a crazy amount of NFL players are known by the one name.
Okay, okay, so I have it in front of me. Trivia time. How many words do you believe are in the English language? Okay, and we'll use a reference point since, like, to your point that some words and different things can be different things. This is from the 2nd edition of the Oxford English Dictionary. How many words do you believe are in the English language currently in use as they describe it? How many words?
I have no idea. 1.5 million.
171,476.
Oh, much less.
They also
Much
ruled
less.
out that 47,000 words are obsolete. Like people say them, use them, but they're not actual lingo. So there you go. The more you know. So yeah. So I guess I'll work on the Scary Terry one. I'll work on that. But anywho, let me get to number 4.
Number 4.
I'll stay on the offensive line. What about Olu Fashanu? This guy's going to get a lot of run. Your former Dallas Cowboy, Tyron Smith, is getting no run. Maybe let me rephrase. Giants game, Rodgers gets 2 preseason drives. Tyron Smith will be protecting the blind side of Aaron Rodgers. So for that drive, those handful of drives, sure, maybe. But that means a ton of Olu Fashanu opportunities to get him ready for the season to be the 6th man off the bench in an important role for the New York Jets. I think Fashanu is going to get tested against all of these teams. Carolina probably a little less so. They got more juice on the inside than they do on the outside at edge rusher, especially since trading away Brian Burns, who, ironically enough, they traded to the Giants. So maybe Olu will get some run on that the following week with guys like Kayvon Thibodeau. Their defensive line is nasty. They got all kinds of guys all over the place. So that'll be a good challenge in the final preseason game, which should be the dress rehearsal for the season. But I'm looking forward to Olu Fashanu. The real question wasn't in pass protection. People said, draft analysts said that they believe he could be an elite pass protector very early in his career, which is good news for Aaron Rodgers. The point that people questioned was his ability in run blocking and being a mauler and just taking people to the house and just being able to do that from an aggressiveness standpoint and execution standpoint. Let's run some Izzy to the hissy with Olu Fashanu protecting, and can he get some ground there? I think Olu is going to get a ton of run this preseason because technically he's not a starter, obviously, but he might as well be with all the ops he's going to get. So let's get Olu on the list.
Yep. No, I'm with you on that. As a matter of fact, hopefully we can get Olu, get him a small single serving Aunt Jemima syrup that he can go ahead and put on the pancakes that he's going to be laying out there on the field. And by the way, I said Aunt Jemima.
I heard that. Yeah. It was hard to miss.
Yep. Redskins, Aunt Jemima, they're all the real things.
You are going to town
canceled.
Yeah. Okay, Mrs. Buttersworth, are you ready for number 3?
I am.
Number 3.
Yeah, and for me, it's, step aside, Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Step aside with your belt, the discount double check belt, because I want the belt for the Yak champion.
Ah, yes.
That's who I'm calling out is Malachi Corley. Robert Saleh says a bunch of stupid things at press conferences about injuries and other things like that, and calling him out for not being a good route runner. That's just dumb. But anyways, right. Garrett Wilson's not going to get a lot of playing time. Mike Williams is not going to be out there. No. This is going to be it's going to be Malachi time, right? Now, I wouldn't have him play the whole game.
Probably not.
I'd have him be in situations running routes. I'd show they can play in other positions in the slot and shut some people up. I think he can really show some things, get him in, get him out, have him play, maybe 15, 20 snaps, maybe not that many, and then get him out because what we don't need is him getting hurt, right? Get the guys that are auditioning for a job at August 26th, or trying to get on the practice squad, wrap up the rest of the game. But Malachi Corley, great opportunity to show up, and really show what he can do with this route running and get rid of this ridiculous moniker. Maybe he won't. Maybe it's going to be like Chad Pennington's linguini arm, but I'd like, which was silly. So I'd like to get it out. So Malachi Corley is my number 3.
Shout out to a YouTube super chat here from Jet It Out, baby. Also a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club, screaming, New York Jets football is back, baby. LFG. Several of those wonderful jet emojis in the Saskatchewan avatar. Very nice, Jet It Out. And yeah, baby, it is game day. And we will be on later today. We'll see if Hop on Pop hops on later because his other son, James Woody, will be popping on. He will be doing his Woody 3. Normally, that'll be a game day preview edition during the season, but in the preseason with these games kind of all over the place, he'll be joining the post-game show. So we will be doing a post-game show later today after Jets Commanders. Feel free to join us for that. Maybe it'll be an hour or two after the final whistle, so keep an eye out for that. here on the channel. So we'll have that going on. Keep those super chats coming. Also, any new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club, again, we'd love to make it rain here during the show and celebrate game day here. All right, Pop, where are we at here? Are we going to number? You just got your number 3 in, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
let me check with the commentator for the show.
Hey, I could get easily distracted here. That's possible. Okay, here we go.
Number 3.
I got to go to the reigning UFL MVP, Adrian Martinez, baby. And what I want to say here is I think we have our next Chris Streveler. He is our guy. He is a guy that Chris Streveler took. He was signed. It's really in the same fashion here as Martinez. He's signed and added to the team. All the beat reporters kind of roll their eyes, go, camp arm, because you need a certain amount. Like, you don't want to use all your wear and tear on your guys. There's a lot of throws that have to happen in camp, a lot of throws in preseason. Like, you just sometimes need a guy just to get you through. Like Deion Jackson, who the Jets just signed. He's going to get a lot of run in this preseason. Don't think he's making the roster. But, but anything can happen. Chris Streveler had this crazy preseason and comeback victories. He ended up earning a spot on the practice squad, so anything's possible. Adrian Martinez is a name. People remember him, of course, in his wonderful college football career against Nebraska. He got an opportunity in the NFL with the Detroit Lions this past season, and then after he got cut in December, he joined the UFL, which was the merger between the USFL and the XFL. He won the regular season MVP, he won their championship MVP, and he led them in multiple categories. He was a spectacular player here in the in-between the NFL season and our season here of football here in training camp. I'm telling you, man, I think Adrian Martinez can have a Chris Streveler-like impact, and we need a QB3. It's unfortunate, but I was hoping Jordan Travis would be ready for training camp in the preseason. It sounds like he won't be. He's currently still on the NFI list. That's the non-football injury list because of his gruesome leg fracture he suffered in college that predated, obviously, his rookie career, which obviously ended up him on the NFI list as opposed to the PUP list. There's a subtle differences there, and it looks like, this is my gut feel, Jordan Travis is going to redshirt this year literally by being placed on injured reserve by final roster cuts, which will rule him out for the season. So he cannot be a legitimate option this season for QB3. And I'm totally cool with that. Redshirt him and let him learn behind the scenes. But that means we will need a QB3. And the only other two options on the team are Andrew Paisley with a P and Adrian Martinez. I'm putting Adrian Martinez here on the list.
Yeah, I agree with you about the importance the players to watch is, and I don't think it's just for this game. Overall, the QB3 is definitely something. And you only have to go back to. By the way, I saw Boyle last night. Your favorite player. Yeah. So this is a crucial position, and I will tell you that I saw something the other night that really piqued my interest. That if I was the Jets, I would have my radar up.
Okay.
That gentleman from Tennessee, but the Patriots are probably the stupidest franchise.
Oh,
right
Joe
now.
Milton. Yeah.
Joe Milton, right? Joe Milton becomes available at the end of August. Hello.
Ooh.
I'm signing it. That kid's got an arm. He's got heart. He's massive. He's the next Cam Newton. I'm telling you, the Patriots, it was weird. They tried out whatever May. Is that his name?
Drake May. Yeah, he got
Drake
one
May,
drive.
Their first round draft pick. And it was embarrassing because Milton comes out and the entire stadium blows up, and he did show up. He had like a 60-yard run. I mean, it only netted about 18, but he was amazing. That kid is somebody to keep on our radar. If the Patriots, they're just gonna
try to sneak him on the practice squad.
Sneak him on the practice squad. Nope, no sir. So he is intriguing, and he has everything you need. So that is somebody that I would. High alert for he comes available. But yeah, third quarterback, got to solidify what it looks like. I think we do have, to Ricky from New York, right? His love of the Florida State, and I love that pick when they took him. Mm-hmm. So yes, absolutely, the third quarterbacks we need to shore up. So we have to be watching out for that.
Yeah, and before you go to your next number on the list here, boy, you think the Patriots obviously are keeping Jacoby Brissett. You're obviously keeping Drake May. And then the third quarterback, it's kind of up to determination. Not every team keeps 3. Some people only keep 2. So there is a path to your point. Joe Milton was a 7th-round draft choice or something. Like there's a clear path that he could, again, the Patriots could attempt to do so. By the way, for people who don't know, if you put a person on practice squad, you have to wait 24 hours. He has to go through the waiver wire system, which means when you cut him, all 31 other teams have a chance to claim him. If they claim him, he must be signed to their 53-man roster. They can't just claim him to their practice squad. So keep an eye out for that. Again, you would have to require a roster spot, but that would be interesting because, again, if Andrew Peasley and Martinez don't do it for you, but you still need a third quarterback, that could be a really creative way to get a guy, a developmental piece, because, again, you still have the protection in front of you of the two veterans and Rodgers and Taylor. Yeah, sign me up, baby. That could be pretty gosh darn interesting.
Right.
Okay.
In the world of collusion, you get some people to help you out. Say there's a lot of interest in Zappy out there. We really
Zappy,
are interested in trading
one,
for
right.
Zappy. And then the Patriots, we better keep him. We'll let Milton go. Yeah, excellent. Yes.
Yeah, we can only hope. Okay, here you go.
Number 2.
Yeah, so this one, I'm going to go. It could be either one.
Okay.
I really want to see the 2 running back draft picks. And I'm going to go with the Jackrabbit just because it's cool,
Okay.
right?
I say it. Yeah.
I want to see them in a series or two apiece, similar backs. And then we could really see if they're, similar or not. Apparently there's a lot of buzz around Braylon and his catching out of the back.
Yeah.
Apparently Hackett's not going to not going to wait to week 8 to figure out his running backs can catch the ball.
Hopefully
like he
not.
did last year.
Yeah.
But so watching those, and I guess I'm going to do 2 for number 2.
Okay.
But yeah, those 2 running backs and how they complement each other. And if we can see what they bring to the table, and I would like to see them, platoon in and out. So you don't just get, one guy for a block, but with them playing with the same players, you can see the skill set and how they match up, right? Same offensive line, same drive, right? They alternate plays or 2 or 3 plays a piece or something like that. Don't judge them by, when you bring in the third offensive line.
Right.
The Jackrabbit didn't do crap tonight. I don't know what the hell the matter is. Give them a fair opportunity to assess both their talents. That's the key to preseason game 1.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I don't mind that. The old double dip strategy. I'll take a page out of your playbook.
Number 2.
Thank you very much. I will do a double dip because there's a chance that this first player I mentioned may not play, but I think he's going to play at some point during the preseason. Chuck Clark. Now, he's a name that normally wouldn't because he's a veteran. He's proven. He has no reason to play. But he tore his ACL in the final play of last offseason's OTAs, and he re-signed with the Jets on a 1-year deal. Chuck Clark, he's got to kind of go through the motions of playing an NFL game unless the Jets want to line him up week 1 against the San Francisco 49ers for the very first time. That seems like an odd strategy. Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off here. Chuck Clark is one I'd say, and I will pair him with, because I know this second guy will certainly play, and he's one of my favorites on the team, Ashton Davis, baby, the former Cal product who played a lot of big nickel last year for the Jets, and he played limited defensive snaps, but made a lot of plays with forced fumbles, interceptions. He was all over the place, and he's another guy. If Chuck Clark cannot come back fully, it's going to be the Ashton Davis show back there, paired with Tony Adams. So right now, Chuck Clark is the projected starter, but Ashton Davis is going to get a lot of reps as the third safety and big nickel role on this New York Jets defense in 2024. I want to see Chuck because we haven't seen him in a long time. He's going to bring some sound tackling to the Jets, much needed in that back half of the defense. And then, like I said, Ashton Davis is super versatile. Let's get him some more PT here in 2024. So I'll package those 2 together.
Yep, I'm with you on that. It'll be, this is when, early in camp, you got to make these, is get the information on the table so you can keep it in the data bank. So, it's only 2 or 3 weeks away, not 2.5 weeks away. Yeah, 2.5 weeks away till cut day. So
Correct.
There's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah. We're again, actually, believe it or not, we are getting near the end of training camp. We only have a week or 2 left of action of these joint practices, and before you know it, it's going to be all wrapped up here in conjunction there with the preseason. But let's get to
Number 1.
Number 1 on the list.
Number 1, and this is none of mine were in any order of in
Okay.
like ranking.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, Jamie Sherwood is my number 1.
Ooh, good, nice.
Really, they've been talking about it a lot in camp about what he's been bringing to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And, as the third linebacker, he's really, when they play the teams like, I don't know, the San Francisco 49ers that like to just punch you in the mouth, right? Sherwood is going to be needed, that he can step up, fill the role, right? It's going to be a platoon rotation, but when they're playing the 49ers, there's not going to be a lot of rotating out. They're going to bring the beef and the heat to the field and counterpunch the 49ers. So really interested. He continues to demonstrate what he has in camp and kind of solidify his position as the hammer of that defense as a third linebacker.
It's a great choice in certain schemes, or not schemes, in certain, I guess, matchups is probably the better way to say it. He will be on the field as that third linebacker, as you mentioned. And again, more so than not, he won't be, because Michael Carter II will be on the field. If you have that slot corner, then you have one less linebacker. But he's right there on the precipice. And boy, the coaching staff's been talking him up this offseason. Fellow players have been talking him up. It's this player on the rise. And obviously, somebody's got to play. To your point, how much does he play? Kind of in the same light, because of how much they value him, will be kind of interesting. But nonetheless, Jamin Sherwood, a great number one on the list. And here we go.
Number 1.
How could I not go with the Hog Molly, for God's sakes? We got to go with my boy, Cole Laval, former UFL All-Star last year. Right now, they have him exclusively playing right guard, according to the Jets depth chart. He's a guy that's played all 5 of the offensive line positions, but over his last 2 years in semi-professional football, call it whatever you want, of XFL, and then they had the merger in UFL last year. Cole Laval has been exclusively playing guard. He's there at right guard. Now, technically, he is right guard 3 on the depth chart, but Wes Schweitzer is the top depth man for the interior. He could play center and guard, so he's the top backup for all 3 positions. So Cole's kind of got like an inside track here. It's him versus Jake Hansen, who's been injured. So Cole Laval is the top interior backup, not named Wes Schweitzer. So he's got a great path here, great opportunity. I've heard wonderful things before the training camp started of the Jets' interest in him, but since, it's been a lot of haven't heard of him. Now, that can be good news, because if you're talking a lot about an offensive lineman, it's normally bad news in camp or even in preseason games. So I'm hoping he continues to make an impact, because he has a path to being offensive lineman 9, 10 on the roster. I believe the Jets are going to keep 10 offensive linemen when we get to final roster cuts. Only kept 9 last year. That extra one could go to some depth on the interior. Shout out to my boy, Cole Laval from the UFL.
No, that's great. Do you have some stock in the UFL here? Because you're
the Rock
trolling around in those.
Hey, as long as the check's clear, Dwayne Johnson. As long as the check's clear, buddy.
Well, if you can smell what I'm cooking, and I'm not talking about the bacon, which is being cooked right now. I need another number 1, because I don't think we can leave. I don't think we can leave this conversation without talking about this individual.
Number 1.
Yeah, Quantez Stiggers. I don't know how we did not. He was not, and we talked about it was 10, but it was really like 14 or 15 so far. So that's it, right. So one of the best stories in the NFL on draft day continues. I don't think that Saleh once again has praised him. Take that for everything it's worth. But really, he still has to make the team, right? Right now, if they write up the 53 on the board, right, is he going to make the team? And if he doesn't make the team, is he going to make it to the practice squad? With all, you do yourself, you're open and transparent in your press conferences. That's great. You also may be punching yourself in an uncomfortable region when you release him and you're waiting that 24 hours to see if you can get him back. So I would tell you that he's one to watch. How he's going to play in the preseason. I think he gets a lot of playing time. So I really I'm interested. He's done some good things in camp, really against another team. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I think he's a stone cold roster lock. One of the things Saleh said, which again caught my interest of like, wow, was Saleh said, we know we've already got an NFL corner. Again, he's a 5th round draft choice. We just got to determine whether he's a starting NFL corner. And to say that about a 5th round pick, and I've said this before, it was either this week or last week, the Jets have drafted 5th round picks in April and have cut them by August before. So the fact that Saleh is already to this level, and obviously Stiggers has been impressing. He has been picking people off in OTAs. He picked people off in minicamp. He has picked people off in training camp. So, the production's been incredible despite the increase of competition in camp. So he's done a wonderful job. So 100% shout out to him. I think he's a roster lock. Let's just see where he goes. Can he leapfrog Brandon Eccles as the top reserve off the bench? Could be, maybe. We'll see. Either way, I think they end up keeping 5 corners, and he's either corner 4 or 5, which, again, an incredible journey, an incredible story, and shout out to Stickers. But you're right. He's obviously going to get a ton of run in these preseason games, so let's see what the young man does.
All right. I got a question for you.
Okay.
How many, and I think the answer is different than it was a few months ago, how many of the Jets' 2024 draft picks are going to make the 53-man roster? And I will tell you that if we go back, but you said, some of these picks we don't even need. We get rid of that pick. We don't need anybody. We have the greatest team. Yeah, I would. So how many are going to make how many draft picks do they have? How many are going to make the roster?
Okay, so you're talking about 2024, April's draft, those guys making the team.
Making the team.
Okay.
And I'll spot you if you think they're going to make the practice squad. You can include those too.
Okay. Let me make sure. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. So I've got the Jets draft picks here. Okay, they're all in front of me. I got them all here. All right.
I have my number, by the way. Just so
okay. How many are going to make it? Well, let me count. Make sure I got them at 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 of the 7 I have making the team. I believe
we are. I don't know if it's the same. I'm pretty sure it's the same people. Yeah. I agree with you. Yes. That's 6 of the 7. And would I remember specifically, I can't remember your exact quote.
Yeah.
But you would not have said that in April. You would have said 3, maybe 4.
Yeah.
You were talking about, some of these picks don't matter. Right. 100%. 6 of the 7 make the team, with one of them, in my opinion, is going to definitely be on the practice squad or whatever that other weird, it's not practice squad, the injured assignment.
Right, yeah, like redshirt. I'm like IR them, yeah. Or Jordan ended up on the NFI, so there's other lists, PUPs and things of that nature. Yeah,
Snowball nailed it. Just for the record, right? Key is the one that's not making the team.
Yes, right. I agree. Jalen, I will say this, if anyone was going to make the roster at a position like that, again, Mr. Irrelevant, which is what Jalen Key is, safety would be the one, because there's a lot of upheaval. There's a lot of room for someone to just.
And he might make the practice squad.
Yeah, no. I would be surprised if he doesn't make the practice squad, to be honest with you. So he's got a great path, and it seems that the coach has been talking him up. But if someone was going to make the 53 as a Mr. Irrelevant, Jalen Key, even though he didn't have a say in this, the Jets are the one who picked him. It worked out beautifully, because if he could have picked it, I would have picked the Jets if I was Jalen Key, because that's the best chance to make a 53. I do think there are a couple of locks with guys like Chuck Clark, Tony Adams, Ashton Davis, and then there's some leftover to try to figure out who's going to be the other guy. Is it Jerk Bernard Converse, who actually now technically is at corner? So Isaiah Oliver is the other one I forgot. He's a converted corner to safety. Based on contract, he's probably your 4th safety. Are they keeping 5 safeties? So Jalen Key, I don't have making the roster, but I will have him making the practice squad, so I think everyone will be on there. In Joe Douglas's history, he's been here since 2019, and 2019's draft class doesn't count because he didn't draft it. But every draft class that he has drafted, he has kept every rookie on his 53. The only exception is Zach Kuntz, a 7th-round pick from last year, who was cut and then immediately brought back on the practice squad. I believe Jalen Key will join Zach Kuntz in that category of getting cut but immediately returning on the practice squad. And I don't believe someone is going to use a 53-man roster spot waiver claim on Jalen Key for their team. So that's what I believe. And if it was, I don't remember what I said back in the draft time, but probably the Jets would have 4 or 5 is probably would have had them making right after the draft, because, again, you don't know about the injury status of Travis, so you could have IR'd him. But obviously Olu, Corley, Allen, and Davis was the one I wasn't sure about. And then Stiggers you don't know about either. So, sure, that one was a lot more up in the air back then. But now you ask me, I have, again, what's the number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6 or 7.
Yeah. So I have 6 of 7 making it. Absolutely.
Me too. And the same ones.
And good question. All right, well, boys, the phone lines are now open. 315. I almost gave the radio call-in line, which those lines are also open, I suppose. I don't know if anyone's picking up. It is 315-671-1260 for those
by the way, while you're doing that, make sure, if you're coming in September, and even if you're not, you shouldn't be sitting there without you drinking the coffee from the right coffee cup and wearing the right gear. So
that's
make sure
true.
you get yours today.
We will be, again, I can't believe how right around the corner it is. We were a month yesterday from the season opener for the Jets against the San Francisco 49ers. That's crazy to say out loud. We have a Jets game day right now. That's crazy. The Jets-Patriots Thursday night football game on September 19th is right around the corner. And for the 25 people that are sitting with us all in a row at that Jets-Patriots game, and for the however many, 40, 50 that are going to be at the tailgate, it's going to be awesome. Try to get some merch and load up. So you guys are wearing the Boy Green merch while you're there if you can. I'm going to be wearing it with my Jets gear. So I'll probably have like the Boy Green merch underneath the Jets jersey. So it's going to be terrific. And I'm going to bring some gifts. I've got some Boy Green stuff to give out while we're there at the tailgate as well. So I'll be doing some nice giveaway
beard trimmings
as well.
Yeah. Is there going to be for that 25 for the? I'm going to come up with some moniker for that. The Elite 25. Is there going to be? I thought there was going to be game day specific merch.
Yeah, well, bad news to share on that front, and then hopefully we can change that news in a good way. The initial plans we had with Nick Shiner's also going to be there. Unfortunately, he's dropping out on the shirt idea. Apparently got too complicated, a lot of hoopla happening, so he pulled out on that. So we're going to have to kind of reevaluate to see if we can make something happen here within the next month of time.
Okay. And, you are not, sometimes you're not on top of things.
No, I understand.
Let's move on that.
Yes, right. So, yeah. Me and you can discuss off air and see if there's some way to revive that puppy. Woody is another one who, shout out to Woody, he's working with me to try to see if we could come up with an alternative plan that we can, thank you, Snowball. What I said. Nick pulled out. Yes. I see what I said there.
We're going to move along there.
That just got to happen. There's no way to undo or unsee that. So, thank you, Snowball, for highlighting that. Anywho,
and thank you for highlighting his highlights.
Yes, that's that's what we do around here. A lot of highlighting, a lot of highlighter. Anywho, phone lines are open. Again, that is the pinned comment on YouTube, youtube.com/boygreen25. Shout out to the 300 people that are in the room right now. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. That helps the YouTube overlords and helps this show. And if you want to go to the extra mile, we also, which, by the way, let me get to that. I'm sorry, we had a YouTube super chat earlier. I want to make sure that I get this in from Axios before we move on. So keep the super chats coming. I'll give you a JETS. Technically speaking, Qantas stickers from America, but did play in the Canadian Football League as a CFL rookie. That's probably more complicated on international recruit. That would probably be a little too aggressive. I'm not quite sure I would go to those waters. I think he's just an American who happened to play over there. Now, he probably needed a passport and all that other stuff to figure all that out. But no, I don't know if I would consider him an international recruit. Pop, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, just like Kurt Warner was not an international recruit for playing in NFL Europe.
Yeah.
So no.
No. Okay. Well, Axios, appreciate the question. Either way.
Or Doug Flutie.
Sure.
Right. Multiple times
Warren Moon.
Champion.
I mean, you could go through Steve Young. There was a lot of guys that played all over the place. There's no doubt about it. So appreciate the question, but you should be really excited about stickers nonetheless. And apparently I was talking to Jory Epstein real quick on the stickers thing. Apparently he was this close to not being draft eligible, but instead just being a straight up free agent in December, which would have been a bidding war between teams. The Jets were one of several teams that expressed interest. We had to check the NFL rulebook, not we, like the NFL, before they made a decision on stickers, had to check the rulebook, and he just made it in as a draft eligible guy, or he would have been a straight up free agent, and they would have been able to sign him that way, which would have been very fascinating. Who knows if the Jets would have ended up with stickers. So, and just squeaked in on a loophole as it pertains to that.
While we're waiting for a call in, I'd like to do a shout out to your lovely mother.
Oh, nice.
Who's in the process of making me breakfast and bacon. So shout out to Mom, she's actually, I guess, a kind of the originator of the show. Because without your mom, and I said your mom, you wouldn't be here.
Wow.
And I could tie it to the comment that Snowball highlighted earlier.
That's not
but
necessary.
I will not.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's already there. I think I didn't have to. I just took people halfway there, and then they got the rest of the way on their own.
We don't have any new members I'm aware of. I just thought I'd play some sort of sounder. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, you like the music's increasing? All right, get off the stage. All right, anywho, we got a caller. FL Phil 98. God bless. How are we, pal? Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. I love the takes on the guys that to watch. I think you hit just about everybody at the end there. I thought you were going to miss Stiggers, and then you kind of sneak them in there at the end. Instead of going through like all these different guys, the one guy I want to agree to most, I think, is Tippmann. I think it's really important to see how he plays. I think most of these guys, everybody you mentioned, there's going to be a couple of games. There's going to be a couple more weeks of camp. You know, we're going to get a feel for everybody. But I think there's a lot of pressure on Tippmann to look good tonight. And if he throws a snap over somebody's head tonight, it's not good. So, you know, that I agree. I think he's probably the biggest focal point for at least the beginning of the game. Pop, we were mentioning about like names and stuff. And one of the things that came to mind when the New England media started calling Brady Tom Terrific, there's a lot of Met fans out there. I know that, right? To me, that was infuriating. Okay, there's one Tom Terrific in history. His name was Seaver. That should never have happened, and they still do it once in a while.
Yeah.
So, you know, along the lines of what you were talking about, Pop, I hope that kind of helps your point.
Absolutely. I just threw up in my mouth when you brought that up, by the way. Yeah, absolutely. You can't do it, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason. And when that one really, they brought it up, and I think it kind of, for the most part, died on the vine. But yeah, you just can't do that. There's plenty of words out there, 180,000 or so, or make up your own. But yeah, right. Could you imagine another running back being called? I use my example again, Sweetness. That just no,
weird. Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing I wanted to touch on is, you know, Reddick keeps coming up day after day. I've talked about this many times. He's going to play.
Yeah.
And he doesn't care about the 2 or 3 million. If he loses 2 or 3 million and gets 5 million back, he's just not going to care. And I actually heard a story yesterday that what's his name? The Giants defensive end broke the record for sacks.
Strahan.
Yes. Lost his name from. I just heard a story the other day that when he did his holdout, he knew he wasn't getting what he wanted. He knew all that. Basically, it was like an inside joke that he just didn't want to do training camp. Okay, and that a lot of veterans, when they're in this position, they do this because a lot of vets really don't want to do training camp. Now, I don't know if that's true, if it plays into it, but
probably not in today's day and age where the rules have changed. But I imagine that the 2-a-days and 3-a-days they used to do. Yeah. You know what? Actually, I did an alteration to my contract. Well, your agent hasn't reached out to us. No, I'm just holding out. I will see you guys by the time the season gets here. It's terrific.
Yeah. You know, again, we've talked about it over and over. Maybe they extend him. Maybe they don't. He's going to play. And I think as long as he gets back, and again, I think the team will like whatever they got to do so he doesn't really lose any money. Right. I think they'll do. All right. They don't take these holdouts personally. Okay. Everybody out there is getting all pissed off and they hating on Reddick or whatever. And man, a month from now, you're going to forget all about this. Okay. He's going to play. They're going to figure out what the deal is. Whatever it is, they're both going to sign up, and then we're going to go play football. And Reddick is going to be either playing for another contract or incentives or whatever it is, right?
Okay.
They're just playing the cards that are on the table. This is all going to work itself out.
Let me ask you this real quick, because we heard that so we've talked about Hassan Reddick every day. But it went to a different level when Zach Rosenblatt said this on his podcast. I tweeted it out. It's on Instagram and everything else. He said he thinks if this could drag into the regular season, that's the first time I've heard anyone say that. Like, we've just kind of like, well, it'll be figured out. When he said that, I'm like, whoa. And I gave the example. My father will love this. Emmitt Smith holding out for the first 2 games. What was that? Of the 1993 season, Dad? Do I have the year right there?
You're talking about the rushing champion after missing 2 games? NFL MVP.
There you go.
Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, he doesn't show up for the first 2 games. Cowboys go 0-2. They're like, all right, you bastard, come on in. And then they win the Super Bowl. So hopefully that's our story. If this drags out to that point on Reddick. I just wanted to ask you this, though, to get another opinion on it, Phil. So Zach just said that. Do you believe this drags into the regular season? Is there any chance that happens with this Reddick thing in your mind?
I absolutely think it could. I doubt it. Okay. But I think it could because, again, you know, I've talked to you about this a few times. He's only got 1 bullet in the gun. That's all he's got. All right. And at some point, he's going to cut his losses. Like your dad said, the Bills got to get paid and all that. And he's got a number in his head already that he will absolutely drop dead. At this point, I got to go play. All right, whatever that number is. And if it is holding out that first game and hoping that, they say, boy, we really could have used him today, I don't think it'll come to that. But if it does, again, guys, please stop taking it personally. This guy's doing what he has to do to get what he thinks he deserves. The Jets hold all the cards. They can sit back and just, thumb their nose at him until he reaches his breaking point, or they can come to an agreement. It's going to be one of those three things. And whether it's before the season starts, I think it will be.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Okay. I think if he loses a game check today, this could be the week he says, all right, I'm not losing another game check.
Yeah.
Right?
Sir Costly. Yeah.
Right. And they're going to come to an agreement. I really believe that. I don't think they're going to trade him. I don't think they're going to cut him. I think they're going to find a way to work it out. And he's probably going to be the guy who loses big on this.
Yeah, probably. And I will just say that I love this because you mentioned, right, the personal feelings. And us as fans go, man, there must be bad blood here and all this stuff. I remember when Deebo Samuel was like, I'm never playing for the 49ers again. Screw them. And then they said, here's the check, sure. Okay, I love the 49ers. Okay, where's the gear? Let's go. So money cures all ails, baby.
It does. Yeah. It does.
And I think this is more of a thing, the way he came to the team. So if he had been on the team and under contract, you hold out, the fans may be more sympathetic. The fact that it's a trade in and then it looks like he's, did a bait and switch. So that I think that's why people,
he should have one day and then it's been gone.
He has less fan backing because of how it landed.
Right.
And again, you got to look at that from his perspective is like, hate on me all you want. This is my freaking money. This is the only chance I have to get what I think I deserve. And, again, I always feel like, people get mad when I get on the player's side. This guy's definitely gotten the short end of the stick for years. He's trying to get what he deserves, and he's doing the only thing he thinks he can to get it. And it will work out eventually.
Yeah, and by the way, I get this great comment here from first_state_Jets. The NFLPA screwed Reddick. And they didn't do it to Reddick specifically, but Reddick is a victim of what the NFLPA gave up. They have to be much better. I know we have a lot of callers. We'll get to you guys. But they have to be better at negotiating. Like the NFL, like for instance, a future thing that's coming is they want an 18th game and they want it bad. And when the NFL wants something bad, it's going to happen. So if you're the NFLPA, bend them over the barrel and get something juicy. This has got to be a bartering system. If they give you something, you got to take something. One of the things, as again, First State Jets says here on YouTube, is NFLPA gave away the ability to hold out in negotiations. These fines and things that Hassan Reddick is dealing with are harsher than they've ever been in the history of football. And that's only because the NFLPA allowed the NFL to get that at the negotiating table because they don't want these holdouts. And they're very rare to this point. Every once in a while we see him. Nick Bosa, last year, he eventually got his deal right around September and things of that nature. But that's a thing that really, really hurts Reddick in all of this.
Yeah, and again, it's why every time you talk about it from a player's side, I said this when you had Nick on the other day, the fans are always on the side of the billionaires, and I don't get that. All right. They own these guys for the first 4 or 5 years. Okay. They control them far more than they should. The salary cap is basically their way of controlling how much the guys can make. I mean, and I'm not crying for guys. I know there's guys out there right now. I'm crying for a guy making $15 million. You just have to get real about what these guys are worth, what the contracts are. And by the way, we've been talking about this word inflation for the last few years. Okay. It affects this too. Mm-hmm. All right. And your father has mentioned many times, okay, the agent gets 10%, the taxes take half of the money. Okay. These guys are not making what you think they're making.
That's right. And their average career is less than 5 years.
That's great. It's 3 years as an average NFL career, which is even shorter. And I'll tell you this, Phil, my dad, here's this. So you mentioned, right? So many fans side with organizations over fans. My dad still gives me shit for what I'm about to tell you. And this is from 15 years ago, for God's sakes. It's Thomas Jones. On March 5th, he was owed a $5 million check. And the Jets on March 4th went, hit the bricks, pal. Your boxes are packed. And then after the 3 wonderful years, that 3-year run is up there with the most productive 3-year runs in NFL history in terms of yards and stats and everything. And I went, well, see you, pal. Sorry. LaDainian Tomlinson in aisle 5, please. My dad went, what the hell? What about everything he's given you? I'm like, well, we don't pay you for yesterday, pal. We pay you for tomorrow. And I remember saying that 15 years ago in the 2009, 2010 range. My dad, he still gives me crap about it. Yeah, nice guy. Nice. Yeah, I still get that.
He was only the second leading rusher in the AFC when they cut
that
him.
year. Yeah.
Thomas Jones was a beast.
Mm-hmm. Tough. And
Yep.
I sided with the team.
I only wish that you had call-ins when you did interview with him recently with some of the movies. I would have called in and I would have said, hey, you know what, Boy Green here.
Whoa.
He said, screw you later, by the way, when they got cut. Yeah, I would have brought that up.
That is true. For people that don't know, I interviewed Thomas Jones years later. It wasn't as advanced with all this technology now. It was just a radio interview in a side booth pre-recorded, but we had a 60-minute chat. He was very generous with his time, and he's been great to me.
Maybe he wouldn't have been.
Yeah, probably not. That chat would have been a lot shorter, I imagine. A lot shorter indeed.
All right, well, listen, I'm going to go. I know you got callers. Real quick, I jumped in on the 411 last night. Shout out to those guys, T.O., Johnny. I got to meet Infrared online yesterday and Dre. So, good luck to you guys.
Appreciate it. Phil, thanks for the call, brother. Okay, we are loaded on calls here, so I'll try to get to as many of you as possible here. Let's go next. We got Hep here on the show. What's up, Concert Hep superstar?
Hey, bud. Hey, listen, I was curious. Rifka was talking about Davis is the one to watch as far as the short yardage situations. He said do you know anything about him?
Isaiah Davis, the jackrabbit you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, thing that has surprised me with the depth chart coming out is he is the leading kick returner not named Xavier Gibson. Now, you don't have to have 2 returners in there in the new kickoff rule, but most teams do. It just makes sense to have a second guy to cover all the landing zone ground, and he's the other guy lining up with Xavier Gibson, again, according to the depth chart. So that part has surprised me, and shout out to Jake Asman because he calls it this. He said this new kickoff rules reminds him of just a big-ass running play, and when you have the 2 kind of lines of scrimmage, finding your vision, finding your lane, and breaking through and trying to reach the second and third levels of a quote unquote defense. So 100%. I think this new kickoff rule, I think, favors the running back and favors running back vision as one of those talents and traits. So 100% Isaiah Davis in the mix there. And specifically to your point for short yardage, Braylon seems to make more sense on the surface. They're both bigger guys, but like Braylon, you see this predator alien looking bastard with the 12 pack. And again, if I had a body like that, I'd be showing the abs off as he does. He cuts off his jersey around the abs. Nice. Good. I'd be probably doing it if I had a body like that. So shout out to him. But yeah, I think it will be both. Again, there's a reason the Jets are committing to the run game like this, that they are 2 draft picks in April's draft.
Little side thing with this new kickoff rule, is the gunner really going to come into play?
It's a good question because like everyone just kind of lines up. I don't even know if you're going to have, to me, in the lines, because again, you guys will see it for the Jet fans will see it specifically, although we've gotten a few preseason games. These are just lines of scrimmage. So you're probably getting not small, quick, agile guys that are like booking it down the field, which I used to do in high school for a gunner. It's beefier guys because you're just battling. I would imagine you're not getting fast and agile guys anymore for these lines. It's like offensive linemen, essentially. They probably won't waste that position because it's so valuable, but that effect of getting those kind of guys. So you're right. Maybe still on punts, we're still going to have that in classic gunner fashion, but kickoffs, I think you're right. I think those days might be over.
All right. Thanks, guys. Love you guys. See you later.
Thanks. Great song, by the way.
There we go. Yeah, great song. Yeah, he's in here. Okay, we got so many callers. Who are we getting to next? Let's go to Phenom here. Welcome to the show, my man.
Oh, good morning, guys. I didn't think I would be up so fast.
Yeah, there you go. And you remember the Boy Green Coffee Club, by the way, Phenom. It's great to have you, brother.
Oh, I saw that. Well, thank you very much, whoever hooked me up. Thank you very much. I appreciate the platform. Good morning, Pop.
Good morning. Good morning. Look at that old school shirt.
Yeah, look at that. That's Namath, baby.
I dress for Jet fans. But Phil was definitely on point. You know, like I was watching the Bill Parcells Hall of Fame speech the other night, and he talked about the pain that these players have to go through on Monday, whether they win or lose. And he's not even talking in current times. He was talking, when he got inducted. So these guys have to get the money, man. I mean, like I said all the time when I come on the show, I hate the business of football. I understand it has to happen. We're talking about billionaires playing millionaires and all like that. But as a part of rank and file, you got to get yours, because if you don't, management will screw you over, and we know that's going to happen. So that being said, that's that. The player I'm most excited about is Malachi Corley, because I think he can give us so much, like you guys are saying, on the kickoff, on the punt return, as a regular offense, or one of the 11 playing offense. I think he could provide so much. He could potentially be the number 2 receiver or number 3 receiver, or just a rookie that, learns on the way and then makes a huge contribution late in the season and into the playoffs. So
I love that.
His role on the team could be invaluable. But it's also, like you guys saying, Isaiah Davis. It's obviously Brandon Allen, who we've all fallen in love with. And, as I get ready for fantasy football, I'm thinking, how many Jets can I get now? But and for years we couldn't do that. Like last
it was a different question for fantasy. Can I get any Jets on the team?
Right. Right.
They're always available.
I bet they were.
Right.
I bet they were.
Now they're like, specials.
Yeah, hot commodity. Brees and Garrett are consistently going in the first round of fantasy drafts, so it's crazy. Yeah,
no question. And you still got to think about, like, late in the draft, can you get a guy like Conklin? Could you get a guy like Mike Williams to be your 3rd or 4th receiver? So I know that's not the direction we were going, but
I love it.
I'm in fantasy football mode, so I figured I'd toss it out here. I always enjoy your guys' show. This show is special to me. It's Saturday morning. We're rocking and rolling. I don't have the coffee. I don't have a beer yet, even though it's never too early to drink a beer. But I love this show, man. I love this show. All right.
I appreciate that, Phenom. We'll be back on next week. My father's going to be on for both days, the entire weekend, so it should be a doozy.
It's a good deal, man. It's a good deal. I always enjoy talking football with my pops. You have a special moment right here. Enjoy this quality time, and looking forward to hearing more of the show.
All right, beautiful. Thank you, Phenom, for joining us. By the way, another underrated nickname, Muscle Hamster. It was for a boy, Doug Martin. Am I remembering that correctly? Let me make sure I get if it's Doug Martin, the former.
I think you are.
That is, yes, the Muscle Hamster, because that's what I'm thinking for Malachi Corley. Boy, in the preseason game, he was one of your 5. Him trucking some dudes. We've heard stories. Boy, it'd be great to see some of that here in the preseason. That's for sure.
Yeah, the other thing that, just talk about this whole salary thing, Hassan Reddick, etc.
Yeah.
Just real briefly, recognize this. Okay. The majority of the people, and this is just the facts, right? The real reason that all these football players go to college is they don't go to college to get an education, right? There are those out there. I think it was one of the offensive linemen, I think it was for the Kansas City Chiefs, that actually is a doctor, and he stepped away from the game to help people out during that time. Most of these players don't have a doctor to fall back on, right? They played football for the minimum amount of time, right? Maurice Claret lost that battle, not making it 1 year, right? And so they got to get their money now. And the other part you got to realize is we all have a job, we make money, we establish our lifestyle. Well, these guys got 3 or 4 years of making the money for the most part. And then you got to figure out how to live. What am I going to do afterwards? Because most of them never thought of it.
That's
right? Trying to make a lifetime of money in a 3-year window.
Yeah, which again is quite difficult, because that is the average NFL career, and it gets even more difficult than that. All right, let's keep going on the phone lines. Again, I'm going to try to get to as many of you as possible. If I can get to everyone, I can. Let's go. We've got NY Jets FL. Ted joining us here on the program. What's up, buddy?
Good morning. Good morning, gentlemen. Great conversation, Paul. You collab with Jake Asman is tremendous. Just an aside, last night, I know you love Michael Penix, and so did I. I see spin the ball beautifully at the pro level too, which I think he's going to be a good quarterback. maybe that, hey Pops, maybe you want to see Joe Milton with a star on his helmet because you got these balloon contracts of CD, Micah, and Dak. So maybe Joe Milton would look good on the Cowboys. Quite honestly, you may want to pick him up.
I'm actually looking forward. I think it's against the Rams. I'll be flying to Illinois, but I won't be able to see the Cowboys game. Hopefully, I can catch it after. But really interested to see what Trey Lance is because you haven't seen him do anything. So what is he? Is he worth it? And then he's one, right? It's about time to show up or show out for him. So absolutely.
True. Hey, the couple things. The players that I really want to see the most are Eric Watts because I'm not 100% convinced on Reddick coming in. Period. You have to have a backup. So let's see what a guy like Eric Watts can do. A guy from UConn, just kind of I guess he's a UDA and
correct.
He's got some raw talent. Leonard Taylor II would be another guy I want to look at. So I mean, if we have to piecemeal a pass rush together somewhere to make up the ground that Reddick would assume, in his sack production, we may have to go that route.
Have to be ready to at least.
Yeah. By the way, there's a flag being thrown here. Jared B., another fellow Floridian. He says you're wearing a sweatshirt. It's 90 degrees. What the hell? What's going on there?
Yeah, I know. My wife is Puerto Rican, so she keeps the house really cold. So yes. we wear hoodies at night. That's how bad it is.
Okay.
So
all right. I appreciate the explanation there. Thank you.
Yeah. So looking forward to the game. Tippmann. I equate Tippmann as dating a porn star, and then realizing the pressure involved at the beginning of a relationship with that said person, because once you have to perform with that person, you can get a little jittery.
Wow. Okay.
A bit of jitters till you get warmed up. So let's just say
you get a lot of directions with that.
A little performance anxiety, maybe for Tippmann. He'll be all right.
Wow. Yeah, with Rodgers, that's true. Okay.
It could be like a 16-year-old on prom night.
Wow. No
I'm
comment there.
I'm not worried about Tippmann. Jason Kelce, I know he's a Hall of Famer, but he had some really bad snapping problems. So
oh, sure. Early in his career, absolutely.
Tippmann, let's just, he'll be all right. I'm not worried about him over snapping, but I know you got a lot of calls. Looking forward to the game. Enjoy. I haven't been on in a while, so I had to make a career move. So I'm actually doing my business and a full-time job.
Damn. Well, that would explain why you're not calling in as much, brother. But we always love it when you do, man. It's always a good time.
Yeah, I don't want to be overexposed like Bobby. I can't be like every show. So although I was the first caller to your show, Paul, if you remember.
That's true.
I was the original caller, but I know you got a lot of calls. I'll be brief. So good to talk to you. Looking forward to the game. But those are the two players. I really want to see Eric Watts. I want to see if that guy can, see if he's got some flash in him. So you guys have a great one.
I appreciate that. NY Jets FL joining. It's a great call on all the UDFAs, to be honest with you. Braden McGregor's another one out of Michigan. Some of those guys on the defensive line, they're going to obviously get a ton of run in the preseason. So 1,000%. A great call out there for NY Jets FL. And I appreciate you guys sharing your own list. Again, we'll be on for the post-game show. Let's see, the game's going to be 3 or 4 hours. We'll be in the 5-6-ish range. Keep an eye out on YouTube, and you guys will get our post-game show.
That game's going to be 3 hours max.
Yeah.
You could be on at 4 o'clock. Come on, 5.
Really? Wow. Okay. Well, I'm just trying to expand the range. We got to do some coverage for heavy.com too, the articles and whatnot. Okay. Let's keep the phone line going. Again, hopefully we could get to everyone here. Ricky, New York Live, you're next here on the show. What's up, my Asmaniac bucket hat friend?
Hey, what's happening, Paul? You know what? I've been saying, about Isaiah Davis and the kick return role for a while. Like, remember I asked Nick Faria about it the other day. I've been saying that all along, and So that's some nice vindication for myself to see that.
We should have just listened to
like
Ricky.
that.
That's just the point. If we would have just listened to Ricky, I should have asked you for the lottery numbers for next week. You just have all the answers, man. I love it.
Those I couldn't give you. Trust me, if I could figure them out, well, some things would be different. We'll just say that.
Yeah, for sure.
More jerseys.
You know what? The player that I'm curious to see is Xavier Gibson. You know, it sounded like he had really taken a step. It sounded like he had that slot receiver role locked down.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything else, I want him to make, Corley work for it. Competition.
For sure.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good thing. So I'm most curious to see. And, unfortunately I have to work, and so I'm not going to see the game, but I'll digest it after the fact.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, I appreciate the call, Ricky. And yeah, to remind people, the game is at noon. I see people asking how to watch it again. It is supposed to be local. I have it here from the Jets. You can also Google this. The Jets do have a little how-to watch guide. It is going to be on locally on WCBS. That'll be for whoever again is local for that. It'll also be for NFL Plus. You guys can sign up for a free trial on NFL Plus to watch the game if it is not available to. They give you a 7-day trial. You can watch a game and immediately cancel after the fact. Sorry, NFL Plus, you're not one of my sponsors, so I don't have to force feed that down people's throats. So that would be the way I plan on doing it myself. So try to do that for everybody out there.
Right on. Well, I appreciate it as always, guys. And, the other thing I want to see is I'm really curious to see how Fotu and Kinlaw and those guys rotate in next to Quinnen and see what that interior looks like. That would be the other thing that I'd throw out there real quick before I go.
I love it. Thanks, Ricky.
All right, man. You guys have a great day.
You too.
Another good call. Likey Fotu. How much run is he getting in the defensive tackle conversation for sure? All right, we've got 2 callers left, Pop. Are you still game?
Yep.
Okay.
The bacon is cooking now. So.
And that it is. All right, let's go to our resident offensive coordinator, Easy from the couch. What's up, Easy?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Great.
Doing great. How are you doing?
Doing really well. Sugar's the good. I'm working again. That's why I haven't been calling in, because I'm driving a much smaller truck, doing dumpsters, doing the 15, 20-yard dumpsters, making 25 an hour, actually. It's pretty good.
There we go, baby. Nice.
And I work in the rain more. Although we had the hurricane down here, so I didn't work every day, but I mean, it was a hurricane, so.
Right. Yeah, we got those after effects up here. We got drenched. I had to be careful on my way home. Almost spun off the road a few times. So yeah, the rain's coming up here to New York. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of friends and family live in Long Island. They say they got swamped, but at least everybody's safe and happy. We had a couple of twisters spin up down here in our area, but they were like just F1s. They were little guys, and they didn't hit anything substantial, so we were lucky.
Oh, thank God.
Anyway, I just got a couple of points to make.
Sure.
Hassan Reddick, I just wish he would have showed up and played and in good faith negotiated, because I think he got some really bad advice from his handlers. And now it's too late. He's got to, dig in. So it is what it is.
Yeah, he's in the pool now. So, like,
That's right.
Again, to my dad's point, he mentioned this earlier, maybe today's paycheck cuts deep. You're like, okay, I don't want to do that again, which again, for those counting at home, it's $750,000 dollars.
Yeah.
So when that one hits, even though he knows it's going to hit, so I would feel it beforehand, say, you know what, I think I'm showing up, but maybe
he's going to be over $2 million. He'll be over $2 million if he doesn't after today.
It'll be well over $2 million, because I think he's at 1.4
2.3
right
or something like that.
Yeah.
Like 2.3 mil. That's crazy.
Yep.
He could have showed up to training camp, gone through the motions, or did what Brandon Ayuk did. He showed up and didn't do anything, but he showed up.
Yeah,
a hold-in, yeah.
Which,
by
the way,
I know my dad hates this, but this will make my dad feel worse
hold-in.
about it. Yeah. I'll let my dad rant about this in a second. When you go there, the facility gives you, I can't speak for every facility, I can only speak to the Jets. They give you 3 meals a day. You
get free food, free lunch,
free food, free drink, free hangout. And again, you're on the side with a little fan. You can have one of those people kind of doing one of these to you. Hold in, and they cannot find you. But Dad, go ahead, get it off.
And you can show up for the meetings and all the bullshit, and still be with your buddies and all that crap.
Yep, none of the
build rapport with the other team, with the rest of the team. So I just think it was just a stupid move. I understand where he's coming from, but it was still a stupid move.
Yeah, I'd be holding into if I heard that was an option. So, Paul, you can hold that. We're going to find you up the wazoo, and it's going to cripple you financially. I'm like, oh, well, what's option number 2? Well, you could go there. They feed you, and they give you drinks, and you just kind of hang out till it gets figured out. Okay, thank you very much.
And at least you're there.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that I would have been worried about, and am not worried about.
Okay.
If this would have been a premium offensive lineman holding out, I would have been more worried with our offensive coaching staff.
Right. Yes,
however, with our defensive staff, they could take anybody and coach. And they have proven over the last 3-4 years they could coach up a tomato and make him a quality guy.
Yeah.
So I think between McDonald and these other 2 undrafted free agents and these guys that we have, we got a lot of depth because they're going to coach the hell out of these guys.
I agree. Yeah. So to your point, if it was something directly affecting Aaron Rodgers, a left tackle, let's just say, okay, let's stop playing around here. This could cost Aaron Rodgers his health. A defensive lineman in a defensive line that has kicked ass since the day that Saleh arrived 4 years ago. Again, Reddick's super important. But, still, you think he could cover the salad while he's gone, which, again, it helps their negotiating position. Yes.
Do you remember what our defense was ranked the first year with this coaching staff?
Oh, God, awful. It was bottom 5 in every major category.
Right. And the very next year, it was in the top 5 of every major category.
That's right. And
so these guys,
top 5, yeah.
The defensive staff can coach.
Yeah,
I mean, these guys are fantastic. Mm-hmm. This is world-class coaching on the defense. I'm thinking now the offense is starting to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think who's our offensive line coach? Carter?
Keith Carter. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think he's getting with the program. He's listening more to the players. And I think the fact that he's a kinder, gentler coach is really reaping, high dividends now.
Yeah, that's helping. That's helping a great deal. I think we should tell that to my father because the same thing. So Keith Carter is his military background, and apparently, as soon as he was hired, I reached out to people in Tennessee. Said, "Hey, can you give me the taste of it?" He's he lays it on the line. He's very intense, and he's in your face, and he's yelling at you. And I'm thinking, yeah, maybe my dad too. He's got a little Keith Carter in him. Maybe he just needs a talk from Saleh. Let's get a different approach here in 2024. I think my dad would really appreciate that, Pop.
Oh, sorry.
Moron.
Go ahead. Okay,
Pop. There it is. That's all he needed to say. That's all right. Go ahead, Easy.
Well, I remember Parcells. He was in an interview, and people were talking about how he doesn't treat all his players the same.
Right.
And he said, "You're damn right." He goes, "Some guys need a kiss in the cheek, and some guys need a kick in the ass."
Yeah. Everyone's case by case. It's a good point. And so there is that from a handling perspective.
And LT got away with murder because he knew when he put him in the game on Sunday, he was just going to be hell unleashed. It didn't matter whether he practiced or not.
100%. Aaron Rodgers, right? People was he did this. He's Aaron Rodgers, and you're player number 90. There's whether we all want to say it's equal because that's the right thing to say in 2024. Oh, everything's created equal. Everyone's on the same playing field. No one is on the same playing field. There is players that are on the bottom end of the roster. If they do something stupid, they're cut. There's a star player on the team does something stupid. Well, we can work with them. It just is what it is. That's life. So. Yeah.
I remember when I moved down to North Carolina, it's 25 years ago, there was a little bar called Jillian's, not the Texas one, but just another one. It was kind of like a Dave and Buster's upstairs, and downstairs they had pool tables and stuff.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And I got to talk with Bobby Houston, the linebacker for the Jets.
Sure, yeah.
He hated Parcells.
Yeah. I could imagine.
I mean, this is legendary. We've heard about this.
Yeah.
This is on record, and he basically told Parcells, to go F himself.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Yeah.
But he did say Parcells was a great coach. He just said him and Bill just did not get along and did not see eye to eye.
I could totally understand that.
Sometimes it happens.
Yeah, which was cool to see. EZ, thanks for the call, brother. Appreciate it. That's awesome. Axios, not a fan of Keith Carter. Keith Carter is crud. Full stop. So appreciate that. But let's get to our final caller. Your favorite Pop. B-Mac joins us on the show to finish off the program.
Good morning, guys. Pop, I'm not here to bust your balls. I'm not going to get on you today. You know,
we're all on the same team. It's a Jets game day, baby.
Yeah. It's today is football day, Jets football day, so that's pretty good. I'm excited for the preseason and watch these young guys to see what they can do. I am looking forward to seeing Izzy about Conda. I want I know there's been a lot of chit chat about his position in the running back room.
Yeah.
Now we got Bladen Allen. And then they got of course, you still got Brees, you know who you running backs are, Isaiah Davis. Yeah. So I know it's been it's a unique situation where Izzy's in. So I want to see how he performs, and if he performs well, how that whole running back room's going to shake out.
Good call out. I like that, B-Mac. I like Izzy a lot. He was on our list. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other thing is this is a Rodgers thing. If he wants to play in the preseason, let him play in the preseason. Take the kitty gloves off, take the training wheels off. Stop it with the bubble wrap him and protect him for himself. No, you know what I mean? Like the man's fully healthy. He's 100%. He was out there in training camp running around, scrambling. Let him play in the preseason. Let him get into a flow. I think he needs it for his cycle and for his mentalness. So when he takes that first hit, he'll be able to get up and say, all right, rather it be a week one against a ferocious Niners D-line. So, I just don't I hate when I hear the fans say, keep him a bubble wrap, but no, this ain't Jimmy Garoppolo. This guy's not made out of glass. All right. This guy's made out of pure rock. I know he's older, and I get it. The Achilles is a freak thing, but if the last preseason game, if it did rub me the one way that he didn't do the joint practice, but I get it, I understand it.
Wow, you and my dad are probably in the same waters for once for that. But again, I will say for those who missed it, again, as we're closing out the show here, is again, Robert Saleh did not allow Aaron Rodgers to play in the joint practice yesterday or participate because of the harsh weather and age and the Achilles. He said, not going to chance it. I was cool with it. Apparently, you and B-Mac will eventually agree on something. That is, you guys wanted him to participate. So there you go.
Yeah, I say this. And sorry, I'm going to be old school. Football players play, all right? F the rain, I don't care what's a tornado. If the rest of the team can do it, Rodgers can do it, all right? Football players play. Herm would say that. Football players play, all right? If there's nothing wrong with them, unless there's a minor setback and nothing like that, if he can go out there and if he's able to play, let him play. Stop it with the baby and Rodgers, a grown man. He's been in the league for 20 years. He knows his body. It's time to take the training wheels off. Right? It's time to him to go out there and get practice like the other guys. Robert Saleh, stop it.
Okay, fair enough.
Right.
B-Mac, I want to thank you so much. Thanks for joining us on the show, brother.
I will.
You're the best. Thank you. B-Mac joining us here. Wow, an hour-and-a-half version of Boy Green Daily today. Thank you to the 500 people in the room. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. Any final thoughts, Status? We got the Jets Commanders coming up in a handful of hours here.
Yeah, I actually have no issue with Rodgers not playing a snap in the preseason. Okay. I think you know what you have. That getting hit thing, yeah, I could see it either way. Okay. If his knee is healthy, his knee is healthy. and playing in the rain. I would rather have him out there in the practice, which we control. Don't touch him, don't hit him. They don't really allow that, rather than going out against the Redskins, not the Commanders. And so, yeah, I don't think he plays a snap in the preseason. I think that's fine. And by the way, if you're Rodgers, just to get street cred, forget what Saleh says. Well, we're not going to play them all. Gee Willikers, I really would have loved to play in the preseason. It's a free pass, right? You'd say whatever you want.
Sure. But I would just say the follow-up there for you talked about the joint practice yesterday, and something apparently that was in Saleh's crow is like the Jets and Commanders haven't been doing joint practices for like 10 years or something. They're only doing it because Saleh and Dan Quinn obviously are incredibly close, so they're deciding to do it. And you don't know if a player is going to say, I'm going to take my shot on Rodgers. This is how I'm making the Washington roster or something. So you're just like, we're just going to curtail that right from the get-go. But Pop, appreciate it. Thank you so much. This was wonderful, and I can't wait. We'll be back on, people, so stay tuned. We'll be on in a handful of hours for Jets Commanders post-game following the game. So, guys, make sure you stay tuned to the Boy Green YouTube channel, youtube.com/BoyGreenG5. Subscribe and hit that bell notification, and you'll see the videos. All right, Pop, go enjoy your bacon and breakfast.
All right, I'll send you some.
Will you?
No.
Okay. Well, thanks, everybody. We'll see you for the post-game show.